Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Friday, October 15th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you are someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about the tool of technical analysis and how it can help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Real quick before I get started, I do want you to keep in the back of your mind that as I go through the video, if you're enjoying the content and enjoying and kind of seeing the power of this tool, then I want to let you know and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live class that I'm offering actually very soon. So depending on when you watch this video, if you're watching it when I release it on Thursday, then I am offering a class actually this evening, or if you're watching it on Friday morning before the markets open, yeah, you missed it. But with that being said, I do understand that either you missed it, or even if you're watching it before it happens, maybe this is too last minute, you have something on your schedule already. The event will be recorded, so drop me an email there, Clay at claytrader.com, and I'd be happy to send you a recording either later tonight or tomorrow morning after it all gets uploaded. So I totally understand if you can't quite make it because of late notice or because you just flat out missed it because you're watching this Friday morning, but I did want you to know it will be recorded. So if you want to watch the class, then still sign up or just drop me an email. First one here, ticker symbol AMC, and wow, did this thing come roaring back to life today. Been doing this one over the past couple of days and have talked over and over again about that 36.25 mark. And you can see right here for those people that were buying around that support, they got paid in a big way today as this thing really came to life. But headed into Friday, now it becomes a very valid question of, hey, you know what? Is this momentum going to continue, right? In order to ask that question, you first need to have movement, right? You first need to have momentum. And that's a big problem because, right, most stocks, they never really get any sort of momentum. They never really get any sort of worthwhile movement. So they never even get to ask the question, hey, is this the start of something bigger? But AMC has accomplished that big check box today. So yeah, that box has now been checked. Can it get big movement? Yeah, got big movement, which again, now that leads to the next question of, well, is this the start of something bigger? Is there going to be more momentum to come? Let's see what happens with it. So I'm going to go ahead and just adjust this area of support up to here. And as this would now be one of the new levels of support from the pullback standpoint, right around 38.75. Not saying the price is headed down there, but if it does, that'd be good to see the price stay above that level. Because the last thing you would want to see is if the price were to come down there and then break down below that level, then you'd have the situation where the price would have all of a sudden gone right back inside of that range that it just broke out of. And I mean, not to insult your intelligence, but nobody wants to see a price movement go back to where it was, right? Everybody wants to see progress being made. And that's what I would define as quote unquote the progress point. But as of now, the price isn't anywhere even close to that 38.75 mark. As far as areas of resistance are concerned, nothing fancy. Let's try something different here. Nothing fancy or complicated here. Literally just a question of, okay, well, where did the momentum finally have problems today? And that was right up there at that round number of $41. So all breakout players going to be watching $41. But all in all, like I said, big movement today. Not just a question of, is this the start of something bigger? Let's see what happens. Next one, ticker symbol OCGN. And this analysis will mean a little bit more to those that have watched past top 10 videos because that's where the red line and green line here are coming from. But even if you didn't, not a big deal. I'll explain where these lines are coming from. Actually just going to get rid of that level. It served its purpose for now. But the big dynamic here was this red line, which was the area of resistance. But you can see this morning price came up here, struggled a little bit with that area, but then eventually did get the breakout there. So in technical jargon, we have a technical line breakout. But this now also becomes a key level moving forward from no longer a resistance standpoint, but a support standpoint, as there is the basic rule in charts, which states when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. So ideally speaking, if the price can now stay above that trend line, that would be best case scenario. With that being said, if the price drops below that trend line, I'm not saying that implies the entire chart's now epically destroyed or anything like that. But yeah, if the price could stay above there, that would certainly be a great sign of power. From more of the overarching standpoint, as far as supports are concerned, that's where the purple line there is going to come into play, the 50-period moving average. But yeah, again, preferably speaking, what would make the chart look the best and healthiest? Definitely if the price can stay above that green trend line right there. As far as areas of resistance, just like AMC, very straightforward, nothing fancy or complicated here. The momentum really started to have some problems up around $10.55. So that'll be the main breakout point to watch moving forward. But all in all, any way you look at it, very, very impressive movement today. Next one here, ticker symbol PLUG, and this one finally decided to act human today after pretty much putting in higher highs and higher lows every single day for the past several weeks. Now, this does have a little bit of perspective that goes into it in terms of, well, is the chart bullish or bearish? Well, I don't know. Again, perspective. If you're a day trader and you bought right there, or you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within, 10 minutes after buying, well, then yeah, from that perspective, the chart's not looking very good at all. Now, if you care about the big picture point of view, taking a step back, then everything is still perfectly fine, even with a pullback. I'm going to go ahead and adjust. In fact, let's just do this to really illustrate the point. And I'm not saying at all that this is what's going to actually happen, but let's say the price actually came all the way down to $30 and then did something like that. What would you still have from the big picture? Well, you'd still have a set of lows there. you'd have lows there, you'd have lows there, you'd have lows there, you'd have lows down there. And if you envision each one of those as stair steps, what do you have? Well, from the big picture, you'd still very clearly have stair steps progressing in the upwards direction. So from a grand scheme of things point of view, the trend would still be plenty bullish. And that's, like I said, assuming the price drops all the way down to $30, and I'm not saying that'll occur at all. So my overall point here is that, yes, it pulled back today, but just because stocks pull back doesn't mean that it's the end of the line or anything like that. As far as areas of resistance are concerned to watch moving forward, keep an eye on that trend line right there and see how the price behaves, if and when it gets up around that area right there. But overall, yeah, today, disappointing day, but that's just one day. Looking at multiple days, the trend is still perfectly intact. Next one, ticker symbol BBIG. And I probably should have mentioned earlier, I guess I kind of assume that people know, but I do also realize that there are, maybe this is your first time watching one of these videos, but what I'm doing here is a 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So point here being is check out late day movement today. The volume came surging in, and once more, this will mean a little bit more to those that have watched past top 10 videos. But if you haven't, in past videos, I've talked about that red line there at $7 as a resistance, and check it out. The volume surge came up there, led to the breakout, and the breakout is, well, breaking out. So that's definitely the status of things right now. In technical jargon, a breakout. And now it's mainly a question of, how much continuation can this get? Now, this does make things a little tricky because, and this depends on your strategy. If you're some sort of pullback player, then you would never want to be buying up around here, right? Because this thing has basically gone straight up. Now, if you're some sort of momentum player, then yeah, maybe you think that it is still worth potentially purchasing up around that area. That's just where it goes, your personal risk tolerance, your personal strategy. So as far as, like I said, a pullback player is concerned, yeah, they're kind of got to wait a little bit for a pullback. One pullback point potentially down there right around $7.50. And then from more so the overarching level, just former breakout point, right down there around the $7 mark. As far as next potential areas of resistance are concerned, got to squeeze down the chart here quite a bit, which is always a good problem to have because it's been quite a while since the price has been up around this area. But the next key overall area of resistance is going to be right up there, right around that $9 mark. But anyway, look at it. Monster volume, monster price movement. Now going into Friday, just a question of, is this the start of something bigger? Is there more momentum to come? We'll see what happens. Next one, ticker symbol NRXP. And overall, a great movement. Bit of a pullback here, and I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that line. But the first update comes about from a previous annotation in another top 10 video I did, and it's based on that rule, which I've already talked about once. The rule that when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. So going into the day, $11.50 was considered an area of resistance, but because the price gapped up above it, at that point, you would want to see the price behave as support. And wouldn't you know it? Check that out. You just can't make this stuff up. Beautiful example there of holding that support. And then it did drop down a little bit more and didn't hit it exactly, but within the general vicinity. But point being, $11.50 is going to be that ideal level of support moving forward. But as I already mentioned, also ideal meaning if the price drops to $11.50, that doesn't mean that the chart's epically destroyed, because from the overarching standpoint, you still have the 50-period moving average down there, which will continue to move itself higher and higher, which is essentially like a trend line for trend line, so I like to call moving averages trend lines for lazy people. So if you don't feel like drawing a trend line, well, just let the moving average, quote unquote, draw itself for you, and you'll have that. So, best case scenario, yeah, the price continues to hold above $11.50, but, from the overarching standpoint, you just want to see the price stay above that 50-period moving average. In terms of areas of resistance, very, very straightforward. $13.50 is a level that a whole lot of people are going to be watching, as it rejected the price not once, but twice. And when lots of people are watching the same level and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want. It can definitely produce some very dynamic movements. So if the price can return back up to $13.50 and get the break, doesn't guarantee anything, but it does make it valid and a rational thought that could produce some additional momentum. So keep a close eye on those levels. Next one, TLGT, going down in the world of some penny stocks here, but I know some you really enjoy playing these, and to be fair, they can be quite profitable. And just a crazy day on this one with a big gap down. Now, to give some credit where credit's due, the price has started to bounce back upwards, which makes it a valid question of, okay, yeah, it started to bounce, but is this any sort of genuine power? And the quick way to answer that question is, well, let's just see if the price can start to show some signs of progress, which brings up, okay, Clay, well, how are you defining progress? And that would be 19 cents, meaning as long as the price can continue to bounce around 19 cents like it's been doing, what is that ultimately telling us about the chart? Well, it's telling us that there's a set of lows here, and it's telling us that there's a set right there. And if you envision those as stair steps, well, then, yeah, there is still progress being made. Whereas on the flip side, if the price just, crashes down through 19, well, you have one of those situations, again, where now all of a sudden the price is just simply back to where it was, which is the exact opposite of any sort of true, genuine move with true power, as if the price is all of a sudden back to where it was. So in my mind, yeah, it did make a nice bounce today. It did show some signs of strength, but is this true, genuine strength? Well, let's see if it can make progress by staying up above that 19 cent mark. Next one, ticker symbol ALF. And the main reason for doing this one is just, and for those of you that have traded for a while, I'm sure ALF, it maybe sounds somewhat familiar because this one has a track record of moving very quickly and very big. And one of those situations like AMC where, okay, you got the first box checked, right? Volume came pouring in here. The price reacted very nicely with it. So now it's at least justified to be asking the question, hey, is this the start of something bigger? Maybe not. There are no such thing as guarantees, as I've said. So maybe this was just a quick little pop and the price is going to just completely collapse. That's always possible. That's why risk management, that's why, risk control parameters need to be used. But that is a two-sided coin. Maybe, just maybe, this is the start of something bigger. Just a simple little pullback, which is plausible given the low amount of volume. And this thing's getting ready to just rip back to the upside as it's done in the past. So while there are no, like I said, guarantees, and I'm going to keep repeating that because that's always a very important principle. Too many beginner traders show up thinking like, oh, well, stock is for sure going to do this. Stocks always go back up. And no, there are no guarantees. So is it valid? Is it rational to think that maybe this is the start of something bigger? It absolutely is. Will it be the start of something bigger? Well, that remains to be seen, but that's the whole point of a watch list and why ALF, I think, deserves to be on the watch list for now. Next one here, ticker symbol DATS. Been doing this one on a very routine basis. And I love this one right now because we have a couple just very, very well-defined areas. And like I said, I don't think I'm going to need to spend that much time on this one because it's so well-defined. So as far as well-defined support area, right there, that green line from a previous top 10 video I talked about, right there at $10.60. You can see the price bounce right off that level. So that'll be a key area of support moving forward. On the flip side of things, maybe you're going to know where I'm headed with this, but check out that purple line there, the 50-period moving average. Price is down below it, so you'd expect it to act as resistance. And wow, has this been annoying a resistance for the bulls. Look at all those times the price tried to get above it and failed, and then the final 30 minutes, once again, try to get above it and failed, and the current value of that 50-period moving average right over there at $12.35. So it's really as straightforward as that. In fact, it's basically a little miniature channel pattern right here. Bottom of the channel, 1060. Top of the channel, $12.35. And the question just becomes who's ultimately going to win out? Are the bulls going to win out with the break to the upside? Or are the bears going to win to the break to the downside? Let's see what happens with it. Next one, ticker symbol PROG, and I'm thinking this will probably be my last update on this one for a while unless something significant happens, because at this point it seems to be just in drift mode. And what do I mean by drift mode? And I understand those are just words, but that's a great thing about charts and the tool of technical analysis. They allow you to take words and phrases and make them very visual. So when I say drift mode, I just mean this. What I'm actually saying is a very clear downtrending trend line right now, which is illustrating the fact that, yeah, selling pressure has shown up. Now, I don't mean that in it's game over type sense. I just mean it in a sense of there's not a whole lot more to talk about until the selling pressure can be alleviated, because as of now, yeah, the price still bounces, but notice every time it bounces now, these these highs just keep getting lower and lower. So really the big dynamic to watch moving forward is, can the price break back above that trend line there? Because as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion, as long as the price remains down below that trend line, then that just illustrates that the bears are not only remaining in control, but they're actually gaining that much more control. So keep an eye on that. That'll really be the main dynamic moving forward of whether or not this is kind of the beginning of the end, or if this is just a temporary little pullback that proves to ultimately be healthy, which is a totally a plausible situation too. But in both those scenarios, they both still revolve around that trend line right there, which in my mind makes it the most logical area to keep an eye on for now. Next one, ticker symbol TSLA, Tesla, and talk about just an uptrend that just keeps on uptrending. But it's been a while since I've done this update here on it, so just want to kind of keep in mind that the reason I haven't done Tesla as much as I've done in the past is there's not a whole lot to talk about other than me just sitting here saying, hey, higher highs, hey, higher highs, higher lows, which is definitely a good problem to have, assuming you're bullish. So on that note, as far as current levels of support, and from a pullback perspective, I think there's a lot of interest right there around the $812 mark. Again, previous breakout point, you would now expect that to act as support. So if you are some sort of pullback player, then 812 is a pretty interesting area. But again, that's not any sort of do or die level, because as long as the price remains above the 50-period moving average there, then that does imply that the overall trend is still plenty bullish. And then as far as levels of resistance are concerned, first level, just very straightforward, the level that, provided a whole bunch of annoyance and problems today, up there at $820. And then after $820, as you're seeing here, all right, let's just go to the daily time frame to make this a little bit easier to see. Oh, wow, even on the daily time. There we go. Wow, we're going way back into February here. But after the $820 mark, next key level, not until basically up there around 800, and let's just call it $33, give or take. I mean, we're talking about $100 or $800 stock. So give or take a couple of dollars here or there, is hopefully acceptable. But at the end of the day, the general premise and the general thing that matters the most is this right here. Check out these lows. They just keep getting higher and higher and higher. And when you envision those as stair steps, that's the name of the game. And as long as Tesla continues to build those higher bases, that's by far what matters most. So that wraps up the top 10 list. And again, if you did like what you saw, if you want to learn more about this tool of technical analysis, how it can be used, how it should be used in order to build consistency as a trader, then I want you to get signed up for the class. But like I said, if it's too last minute, you already have something on your schedule, or you miss it because you're watching this video on Friday morning, then drop me an email, clay@claytrader.com. As I mentioned, the event will be recorded, and I'll just send you a recording of that after it's all uploaded. So definitely do that if you're not able to make it. If you are, then great. I'll see you here in not that long. And then as far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, if you would like for me to continue to make these videos, then please communicate that to me by hitting that like button and leaving a basic comment down below, even if it's just a ticker symbol that you're watching today, or that you watch today, or maybe that you're watching for tomorrow, a number, a smiley face. But those two things, hitting the like button, leaving a basic comment, go a long way in communicating to me that it's worth the time and effort. And as long as I know that it's worth my time and effort to put these videos together, then I have no problem at all continuing to do them. So hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you're able to make the class. If not, just drop me an email and I'd be happy to send you a recording of it. And I'll see everybody back on Friday.